Most girls didn't go to school when our hero Abigail Adams was a child. But as an adult, at the dawning of the American Revolution, she had dreams that girls would get the chances in life that she never had. Many Americans at that time had dreams of creating better lives. The American Revolution has left us with the names of many heroes devoted to that cause: George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and John Adams, a young attorney who would later become the second president, and whose wife was a hero as well, Abigail Adams, one of the great women of the American Revolution. Let's go back to 1774 to first meet Abigail Adams. Some historians consider her to be one of the founding fathers, although now we would call her a founding mother of the United States. Abigail had influence on not only her husband, but also her son, who would go on to become the 6th President of the United States.
Abigail, I must head to Philadelphia to serve in the First Continental Congress, and will be away for a long period of time. I shall so miss your advice.
Do not worry, husband. The children and our business will be fine.
In a time when married women were not even permitted to own property in many of the colonies, few couples considered themselves equals the way Abigail and John did. She was not afraid to speak out, most famously about the rights of women, and put many of her words into letters to her husband. And we still have those letters today. In 1776, while still in Philadelphia, John Adams prepared for America's independence. While there, he received this letter from his beloved wife.
Dear John, I long to hear that you have declared an independency, and I desire you to remember the ladies and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. If particular care and attention is not paid to the ladies, we are determined to foment a rebellion and will not hold ourselves bound by any laws in which we have no voice or representation.
Abigail's words were bold for a time when women had so few rights. Abigail eagerly awaited her husband's reply, only to discover that women's rights were not in the minds of the politicians in Philadelphia. The conventions of the time led John Adams to dismiss his wife's words. This left Abigail deeply disappointed. And after the Declaration of Independence was published, with no special mention of women's rights, Abigail let her husband know that a mistake had been made. Abigail continued to impress upon her husband the importance of women's rights, especially the right to an education.
If you complain of neglect of education in sons, what shall I say with regard to daughters, who every day experience the want of it? If we mean to have heroes, statesmen, and philosophers, we should have learned women.
We now take it for granted, but there was a time when women were not treated equally. Abigail Adams would never receive full political rights in her lifetime. It took another 144 years before women in the United States won the right to vote. Still, Abigail Adams is thought of as one of the first women in American history to fight for equality. She was a woman ahead of her time, and her words still ring true today.
Remember the ladies, and be more generous and favorable to them than your ancestors. Remember the ladies.